Hello and welcome back to the Mindset Alchemy podcast. I am delighted today to have Jo Dyer join us. Jo, thank you so much for your wonderful time and that you're allowing us into your schedule. We appreciate you tremendously.
Oh, thank you, Janine. It's lovely to be here, and thank you for inviting me. I'm really happy to be here.
Oh, it's so awesome to have you. Jo's been having a bit of a run around with one of her pets, and we were chatting about it before we came online. And he's the cutest baby cat. Well, he's not a baby, but
He's
he's
not a
very
baby.
sweet.
He's 12.
12, and he's gorgeous, Tammy, that one.
Do you want to see him? Do you want to see him?
Yes, we'd love to for the people on YouTube. For those on the podcast, you'll have to go
This
say
is Eddie.
hello. Hey, hello, Eddie. Oh, he's so cute. And for those of you on the podcast, he's saying, what are they doing to me?
He's going, this is so undignified. This is so undignified.
Really, all these people looking at me. But Jo, that is a beautiful way to segue into who are you? Where are you from? And what do you do? And then I have a whole delicious lot of questions for you.
Okay, right.
No stress.
Okay, I'm getting ready for the questions. Okay, so I'm Jo Dyer, and I live in a little market town called Belper in Derbyshire in the UK. It's a lovely little town, really lovely little town. And I call myself the Soul Apothecary. And what I do is I work with vibrational essences, flower essences, crystal essences, moon essences, and poetry to help people who want to grow and reinvent themselves, evolve, to say a big fat yes to their soul, because it's their soul calling that they are following when they want to reinvent themselves and grow. So that's what I do. I work with poetry and essences to help people say yes to their soul.
I love that. Say yes to your soul. That was the first thing I wrote there. Work with yourself to say yes to your soul, because to me, that is just so where people are going. Jo, you mentioned your poetry, and I loved what you mentioned the other day, that they're called word potions. Could you share with our audience how the word potions connect with the essences that you work with?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, the word potions are poems that I write for my clients, especially for my clients. They're bespoke. And what they do is they encapsulate and embody the energy and the intentions of the work we're doing. So I'll have a consultation with a client and we'll talk, and I'll feel into the energy of what they intend for their life and for the changes they want to make. And I choose a combination of essences. And from that, I have a sense of the energy that needs to go into this work. And so I write this poem that is imbued with this energy. And the idea is that the client will then speak the poem out loud. It's very important that they speak it out loud while they're taking their essences, and whenever they feel the desire to do it. And it sort of amplifies the energy of the essence, and it helps to embody the changes that the person is trying to make. And that's the idea behind it. It's lovely. It's really lovely. I love writing the word potions. Yeah.
I agree. To me, that is one of the best things. I just love the word. Now, I love that. For me, what's coming forward is you're using the essence of plants and you're using the harmony and vibration of words to bring together a balance within the person. So it's almost like a masculine, feminine, yin yang energy. How did you happen on to this path? Because this isn't where Jo started. Jo has had an amazing career, from lecturer to gardener to all sorts. How did you share a bit about how you happened onto the word potions and essences?
Yeah, well, let's start with the essences. I can't remember how I happened upon essences
That's
for my own
honest.
personal use. It was so long ago. It was over 30 years ago. But I started taking essences for myself over 30 years ago, and they changed my life. Within weeks, I was...
In what way?
Well, I lacked confidence. I
Mm-hmm.
was a very afraid person. As a child, I was very afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And right into my late sort of 20s, I was still saying no a lot to life, turning down opportunities, not even seeing the doors, the doors that would open. I didn't even know the doors were there. I was just so afraid, lacking in confidence. And I said no. And I was very frustrated with myself because of this. And I started taking two back flower essences, larch and mimulus. And within about 3 weeks, I suddenly realized that I was saying yes. I was just behaving differently. And things that would bother me and worry me and frighten me before weren't a problem anymore. And some wonderful things happened. I said yes to having singing lessons, which was huge for me. I can't, folks, you don't know me, but having singing lessons was massive because I love singing and I really wanted to sing. And I ended up, performing on stage, singing, which was a huge boost to my confidence, boost to my, to the joy in my life, and I also started a course in acting because I wanted to get into shows and sing on stage and stuff. And I'd never been on stage before. So I thought, oh gosh, when I go to auditions, I'm going to look like an idiot, because I've never been on stage. So I wanted the stage to become more my home. So I started a course in acting and I absolutely loved it. And for several years, I was in a play all the time. I was always rehearsing something and performing something, and I always got the lead parts. So it was amazing. Oh, it was amazing. And so those were the two really big things. But it also helped me in my work as a lecturer then. I started to be more confident with the way I presented my material to the students and more adventurous as well. I was able to take more risks, because I wasn't so afraid. And the more I did, the more confident I got, so that old fear and lack of confidence started to melt away. And I know for a fact that I wouldn't be here now doing this, talking to you and doing what I do now, if I hadn't taken those essences all those years ago. But I never imagined for a million years that I would become a flower essence practitioner. That was not on the cards at all. So let's skip quite a few years. And I saw an Instagram post that was about an essence called Shooting Star and an Alaskan essence. And it resonated so deeply with me. I'd never come across this essence before. And I just thought, oh my goodness, that's the essence I need now. That's the essence I need. So I contacted the woman who did the post and told her that I was really moved by her post. And it turned out that she was planning to run a course, a 15-month course to train you to become a flower essence practitioner. And I knew, my soul went, Jo, you must do this course. You must do this course. And I decided I would. But I have to say, it wasn't to become a flower essence practitioner. It was to write my poems. Because at this point in my life, I'd started writing what I call my whispers, which are the voices of the plants. And I wanted to write these poems and write a book. And I knew in the depths of my being that if I did this course, that I would be connecting with the flowers in a way that I'd never connected with them before. By this time, I was a head gardener, and I'd been a head gardener for nearly 12 years. And I'd been with the plants and nature and stuff, every day. But I knew that doing this course would connect me in a different way. And it was what I needed to do to write my poems. So that's why I did it. And I didn't believe that I could be a flower essence practitioner at all. I just didn't think I could do it. which was part of the issue that Shooting Star was was about to change. So I was taking Shooting Star and amongst other essences during the course, and it was right at the end of the course that I was doing a meditation alone in a beautiful meadow as part of the course, and it suddenly landed on me. Jo, this is what you are. This is what you are. You are a flower essence practitioner, and that is what you are going to do. You can write your poems as well. You don't have to forget the poems, but you are going to be a practitioner. And so that's what I did. I said yes. I said yes again.
And is that the reason, one of the reasons you say yes to your soul?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've been saying yes to my soul for a long, long time. But I think those first essences helped me to do that. It was that change that happened when I took the larch and the mimulus, and I started to say yes. And I mean, it was when I saw the advert for the singing lessons, it was my soul that rose up and said, Jo, look, the door is opening. The door is opening. I saw the door at last. I saw this door to all this opportunity and these possibilities. And it was so important to me. And it suddenly, I was suddenly made aware of what I really wanted. At that moment, I really wanted to do those singing lessons. And it was really important to me. And I found the courage to say yes, because it took a lot of courage to go and have my voice witnessed. It was a very vulnerable thing to do, which is why I'd never done it before. To have your singing voice witnessed is very vulnerable. Yeah. So I think I have said yes to many, many, callings from my soul for many, many years. Becoming a gardener was another one. Training as a massage therapist was another one. Making the change from gardener to self-employed person was a big yes to my soul, because that call to become self-employed was a call to grow for me. For me to grow and to develop and to do my own healing. To do more of my own healing. Because, as you know, when you become a self-employed person, there are so many challenges that come along with that. Yes. And by saying yes to that challenge, you are giving yourself, I think, one of the best opportunities you're ever going to give yourself to grow and work on all your stuff. So I think that decision to leave the job as a gardener and become a self-employed person was another massive yes. So I think my life has been filled with them. And I think all of us, I don't think I'm any different to anybody else. We are all presented with these possibilities and opportunities and callings that are coming from deep within.
The difference is you witnessed it and you took steps to work with it rather than avoid it. And that takes courage, a lot of courage. I love that you started out as an organization, helping organizations structure themselves. And then you wind up going from there into essences where plants help people restructure and to structure. Do you see a theme in your life through all the things that you've done that have brought you to this point?
Oh, that's a really good question.
I didn't mention it.
What do I see? What I see is somebody whose soul's purpose is to enable growth. To enable growth and transformation. Reinvention is transformation. It's not transition. It's not a superficial thing. It's a really deep change. And I think, as a lecturer, I was a lecturer helping students to grow and say yes to themselves, you know, and ask. Tough love. They used to get tough love from me, I think. I used to ask them some tricky questions. I do think that the quality of your learning is dependent on the quality of the questions you ask.
Yes.
And so I was always encouraging them to search for the questions. You know, it's not my questions that matter, it's your questions that matter. So what do you want to know? You know? And so I think there was this, even then, there was this desire to empower people to engage with their own reinventions and growth and transformations. And I think that's the theme. That's the theme of my life. Yeah.
For me, as you were talking, what I heard is you help people perceive and reach their essence, the essence of themselves, the essence of the organization. And then you began to use essences to help people to shift their essence to a far more harmonious vibrational energy. So even when we were speaking the other day, it was coming forward that you really, really help people tap into their deep inner essence, just as you've done that. And as we all know, that is what our soul requires. Jo, what have you learned through your life that if you had to give a key to people, what, apart from say yes to your soul, because that's the fundamental foundation of it, what bunch of keys could you give to people? Doesn't have to be one. They can have many doors, like you discovered the door. You had the key to open it.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah, I was only journaling about keys and to doors this morning. I think we need a whole bunch of keys. I don't think there is one key. Now I've lost the track. What was the question again? Ask me the question again.
What keys can you offer people from your life experiences of helping people say yes to their soul and discover their essences?
Right.
Can you offer them?
Right. Okay. Well, I feel that awareness, doing whatever you can, whatever practice works for you. And it doesn't necessarily have to be flower essences. There are lots of ways to become self-aware. That's the first thing, is to work on your self-awareness. Get to know yourself. And in doing so, you get to know your soul. So self-awareness, but also listening. Once you become even remotely aware of what your soul is saying, you need to really listen to it. So there's a key to that. There's another key, is listening to your soul. Then trusting that voice. And that's probably one of the most difficult ones to do.
Yes.
Because that does take courage, a certain amount of courage, and a certain amount of open-mindedness, you know, to take it seriously. You know, sometimes it's like, you know, I resisted it for years. I resisted becoming a flower practitioner, essence practitioner for years, because I didn't believe and I didn't trust myself, and I didn't trust that voice. And so trusting, so awareness, listening and trusting, and then having the courage to respond. And it's quite easy to say yes in a way, but then you sort of go, oh, blimey, you know, what have I said yes to here? You know, what have I done? What door have I opened? You know, have I opened a Pandora's box? Because you probably have, you know, you've probably opened a Pandora's box of self-worth issues, of fear issues, of lacking trust, you know. There's all sorts of issues then. Having said yes, your soul is going, yay, well done. And then your little brain is going, oh no, can I shut the door, please?
Ego steps in and says, oh no.
Right, oh my goodness, what have I done? And so there's a certain amount of courage and commitment is needed to follow it through. And that's, yeah, so there's lots of phases to this and lots of keys. And I suppose whatever things work for you, those are your keys, because there are lots of ways to do this, meditation and breath work and yoga and, those kind of EFT, there's lots of modalities that you can use. And I think essences, they are wonderful companions for lots of other modalities, to go with. When I first started using essences, I combined it with massage.
Beautiful.
And because having deep massage, deep body work does bring stuff to the surface, emotional stuff to the surface. And so I had my essence kit there to work with people when those things cropped up. Not necessarily, awful things, but just, challenges, to help people say yes to themselves. At that point where these things were being raised. So, one of the primary things that essences do is raise awareness. And so I feel like I'm rambling now, Janine.
No, actually, that was beautiful. I'm enthralled. What came forward for me from what you were saying is say yes to themselves in the now. And that is very pertinent, because just listening how you literally rolled from the one thing to the next, following that deep inner whisper. It's in the present that we have the knowingness, and then the doubts creep in. And it's to trust, for me, it's to trust, what did I receive in the moment?
Yeah.
And where did ego steal it from me? Where did past experiences steal it from me? If there was one thing that you could redo in your life, what would that be? Just one.
Just one. This needs some thought. If there was one thing I could redo in my life, I think I wouldn't have stopped having my singing lessons. I stopped. Well, the reason I stopped was a good reason. I didn't intend to stop forever. I found when I was doing all the acting was that having to use my voice so much, because I was teaching and rehearsing every night, acting and singing, I was losing my top notes to my high soprano voice. And the two things didn't go very well together. So I said to myself, right, I will go back to the singing when I finish this course, and I'll go back to the singing. But I loved the acting so much that I just continued with the acting, and I never went back to my singing. And I think I would probably have found a way. I would have found a way to have continued. There's lots of learning there, because I perhaps would have found a different singing teacher as well, one that would help me to embrace all sorts of singing styles and genres rather than just opera, because I was singing opera. And my singing teacher was always saying to me, Jo, you must be careful of your voice. You must whisper, you mustn't sing to Ella Fitzgerald anymore. Because she's not the right sort of music for your voice. And I thought, no, but I love singing to Ella Fitzgerald. I still love singing to Ella Fitzgerald. And it, so I think I would have found another way. I would have been less attached to being a high soprano and more attached to being a jazz singer.
Or more attached to following your joy.
Yeah. So
following your joy.
So there you go.
Do you feel possibly that your form of fear was being reflected back to you by that teacher, because they were teaching you more fear than they were teaching you expansion?
That's an interesting point. I've never thought of it like that. But that is a possibility. Yeah, I mean, she used to make me laugh, because I'd turn up to singing lessons and she was going, I can't talk to you today, Jo, because, I'm going to be singing later. And it was like, and it was all whispers, and I've got to look after my voice. And of course, I just used to accept it, because I didn't know any better. Being very, I just used to think, yeah, she's got to look after her voice, so fair enough, But yeah, I can see that. Well, I did stop, didn't I? I did stop having singing lessons with her, but I didn't go back to having singing lessons for years. I did have singing lessons again, but I think I would have, if, the question was, what would I have changed? And I think I would have continued. I would have continued and found, I think that's a really good observation that you made there. I needed somebody who would help me to embrace my whole voice.
Thank you so much for your vulnerability. That couldn't have been easy to have a look at that. So thank you so much for that vulnerability. And I'd just like to encourage you. I cannot sing tunefully at all, and I still manage because that raises our vibration and it makes us joyful. So
absolutely. Yeah. For me, and I know it's not the same for everybody, but for me, when I'm singing properly, when I'm having a really good sing, I am totally connected to my core. Totally, yes. I am totally at one with who I am, and I am totally authentic. It's just pure joy. Sing. I love it.
And on that note, we are going to end. If you could share just one last nugget of yours with our audience, what would that be, Jo?
Oh, well, I would, having said that, that my pure joy is when I'm singing. Is when you, because you will know where your pure joy is. And when you connect with that thing, whatever it is, do it. Do it. Don't let anything stop you. Just give yourself the joy of that thing, because like you said, it raises our vibration, and raising our vibration is what keeps us well. And and that self-expression is one of the most important things in your life, is to express yourself authentically and completely and wholly. So once you've found that thing, do it.
That's beautiful. Jo, again, thank you so much for joining us. And to our listeners out there, I will pop Jo's information in the show notes and reach out to her so you are able to discover your essence. Thank you again, Jo.
Oh, thank you so much, Janine. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.